tonight, bringing back the Blitz.
I've received a lot of positive feedback from people across Winnipeg.
Shop owners and the city's mayor hope for a return of a police crackdown on open drug use. But what does the force have to say? Also tonight, AC disparity.
I found him very limp, shirtless, very fatigued.
Amid a summer heat wave, family members decry a lack of relief in some local care homes, and the fallout as a Manitoba hospital closes its doors after the air conditioning fails. Plus,
well, this is a significant event in the sense of grain coming back to Churchill, going to global markets.
What it means for the local economy with prairie grains soon to be shipped out of the port of Churchill once again.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Hendricks. Marilee is away. West End businesses say urgent action is needed to combat the violence and crime plaguing their neighborhood. They've written an open letter calling for help and say a 10-day crackdown by police on open drug use made a difference, and they want it to continue. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. So, Jeff, could we see another drug sweep?
It's unclear, and we don't even know if we'll get results from the 10-day operation. At the Just Like New to You thrift shop on Portage Avenue, staff have to stay alert.
Oh, it's been a crazy one. We've had probably 6 or 7 individuals come in, try to steal. Some got away. It's been really a tough day. Shop president Susan Lockhart says over the last few months, an increase in crime has impacted the businesses in the area. We're taking the brunt of this right now. Now those businesses, the Lions Manor and others in the Sherbrooke, Maryland community have written an open letter calling for action.
A lot of us were very concerned about the escalating level of violence and the threats that we were seeing, robberies. There have been some daytime stabbings. They would like to see a recent 10-day crackdown on open drug use by police extended. They say it made a difference. Mayor Scott Gillingham agrees. He'd like to see the enforcement again.
I've been door knocking over this week and some of the evenings, and a lot of people have expressed their appreciation for the Winnipeg Police Service and the crackdown on open illegal drug use.
But it's unclear if the blitz will continue or if police will release the results of the week-and-a-half-long operation. In a statement to CTV News, Winnipeg police say they are in the process of reviewing the operational outcomes and community impacts, as well as feedback. No final decisions have been made regarding reporting, future activities, or the release of results. We will provide an update once that process is complete.
Any information that could be provided, I think, would be welcome.
After the sweep became public, a number of outreach groups raised concerns the crackdown did more harm than good for vulnerable people struggling with addictions and homelessness. The mayor disagrees.
We can do both. We can be compassionate to people who are struggling with addictions, at the same time uphold the law.
Now, when police announced the initial sweep, they did release results of the first 2 days that saw 100 interactions with people using drugs and 25 arrests.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Well, as hot and humid temperatures across the province continue, no AC raises the stakes in healthcare settings. Several Winnipeg personal care homes have no air conditioning. Residents are suffering, and worse, there's no end in sight. Even one hospital in the southern Manitoba region is now closed indefinitely until the AC can be fixed. CTV's Joseph Bernacki joins us now live with those details. So, Joseph, what's happening with the hospital in St. Anne?
John, the hospital serves a small community, but also has an ER for patients in the region. The Southern Health Region says the hospital shut down on Monday after the AC failed, and they don't know when it will reopen. Until then, patients have been transferred, but some people didn't get the memo and showed up for care today. Debbie Dalt came to St. Anne Hospital to get lab work with her daughter Wednesday, only to find it was closed.
It's an older hospital. I don't know how well it's maintained, so yeah, it's not very good when the air conditioner goes.
On Monday, the Southern Health Santé Sud region said the hospital was closed after the AC went down. A spokesperson on Wednesday says the hospital may open next week after an inspection and testing is done.
We currently are exhausting every resource we possibly can to be able to remedy the situation.
Existing patients were transferred to hospitals in Steinbach and the Morton-Winkler area. Meantime, it's a challenge for Dalt. She doesn't drive, and her daughter has to come in from Winnipeg to drive her to appointments here.
If you don't drive, it's hard to get to somewhere else. Like either you have to go to Winnipeg or you have to go to Steinbach, or you even have to go further. People around here, they like this hospital because it's so convenient. 3
Winnipeg area personal care homes are currently without air: Donwood Manor, Pembina Place, and Middlechurch. Lydia Danilis' grandfather is a Middlechurch resident, and she discovered him in a terrible state.
I found him very limp, shirtless, very fatigued, not having any kind of additional fan or ventilation in his room.
Health experts say the longer facilities go without air, the greater the risk of heat illnesses, especially for vulnerable people like seniors.
It's more difficult for a person with cognitive challenges to perceive that they're not feeling well and then to act on it.
We reached out to the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority for an update on Wednesday. We have yet to hear back. Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care Uzoma Asagwara was asked for comment today. Asagwara said in a statement in part that every available tool must be used by these facilities to keep residents cool, while cooling system failures are addressed as quickly as possible.
Joseph, is there anything that families can do to keep their loved ones safe during this air conditioning outage?
John, the professor I spoke with today from the U of M says to check on seniors every day and to check on their general state of health. Watch out for those signs of heat-related illness and make sure they are drinking water. And if you can, provide extra ventilation where necessary.
Some good advice. All right, thanks, Joseph. Like many Manitobans, a southwestern Manitoba campground is dealing with the damaging side effects of spring storms.
To happen twice in 1 year is crazy.
Assisipi Beach and campground near Inglis is normally open from May long through Thanksgiving, but it won't be opening this summer. It's nestled along the Shell River, which doubled in size and overflowed its banks after heavy rains in June and July. As a result, the campground estimates it has lost around 120 feet of land to flooding, at least 14 of its campsites and a deck. Sand also covers large areas, including a wading pool, play structures, beach huts, and more. Campground owner Karen Goreluk is now waiting for the land to dry out so we can clean up and see what's left to rebuild.
I'm not going to put sites back down by the river, that's for sure, because there's really nowhere to put it. Because we had a parking area, we had ball games, so you could have campers and you could have parking, but now I'm not sure what we'll have left there.
The flooding also washed out nearby roads and exposed the pillars under Highway 83 bridge. Now that highway remains closed. Goreluk says that her insurance doesn't cover the flooding or loss of revenue, so she'll be looking into the province's disaster financial assistance program to help rebuild. Goreluk hopes to have the campground open once again in 2027 if they're able to. Recent flooding in Dauphin hasn't just been destructive to its infrastructure, it's also been a nightmare for its economy. The Parkland Chamber Street Fair and Dance was supposed to get underway in Dauphin roughly 2 weeks from now. For decades, it's been the kickoff to Canada's National Ukrainian Festival, an event by itself which represents millions of dollars in economic activity. But officials have been forced to cancel both of those events due to the flooding, which shut down its hospital. The Parkland Chamber of Commerce says this will be the first time in 50 years without the street festival.
Like it's a pretty big loss. It's one of the biggest events that the chamber puts on each year, and it's fairly significant for us as far as our budget for the year.
The chamber is holding out hope that it may be able to hold the event at a later date. If not, officials say that they will try and make it through the year and hope for a successful event next year. CTV's Taylor Brock joins us now with a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And Taylor, we were suffering through intense heat for more than we would wish to have had it. Now it looks like there could be some relief in sight.
That's right, John. I mean, really just a day a little later this week when things will be a lot cooler. But relatively speaking to the, extreme heat. Let's be frank here. We have had over the past weekend and just a little bit before, very different story for us here in Winnipeg. Things are actually a little warm though further north, as folks here are actually under an extreme heat advisory. As you can see, it really does stretch through a good chunk of northern Manitoba, including Oxford House and Lynn Lake. Thompson, Gillam, Churchill not included in this advisory, and this advisory is expected to end tomorrow. This is because of the area experiencing temperatures as hot as actually 29 degrees throughout the day, but we are expecting things to cool off there very soon and here in Winnipeg. We'll chat more about that still to come in your complete Skywatch forecast.
The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years.
Right now in Winnipeg, it is 22 degrees Celsius, feeling more like 26 with the humidity. It is quite cloudy with light winds, pressure dropping with humidity right now sitting at 65%.
Thanks, Taylor. Manitoba's Independent Investigation Unit is probing the death of a man who drowned yesterday while running from police. The IIU says it happened in Fisher River, Cree Nation. Officers were responding to an assault when they found the suspect along a road. After telling him he was under arrest, officers say he ran into the nearby Goldeye Creek, but soon began to struggle. The officers managed to pull him to safety, but by that time he was unconscious and no longer breathing. The IIU did not provide any details about the man's identity, and they're asking anyone with information to give them a call. As Canada looks to expand trade beyond the U.S., a northern Manitoba port is preparing for a major milestone. Prairie grain is expected to move through the port of Churchill for the first time in 6 years. As CTV's Alex Karpa shows you, supporters believe this could strengthen the province's economy and position the port for future growth.
This is the Port of Churchill, nestled along the shores of Hudson Bay in northern Manitoba. It's home to the only deepwater seaport in northern Canada.
It's been one of the busiest years in quite some time, and it's certainly the most diversified range of commodities that we'll carry.
Interest in revitalizing the port has increased in recent years as Canada works to diversify its global trade markets and lessen its dependence on the U.S. Now, Prairie grain is set to return to Churchill for the first time since 2020, a move supporters say could mark a turning point for the northern facility.
Well, this is a significant event in the sense of grain coming back to Churchill, going to global markets.
One economist says restoring grain shipments through the port will provide economic benefits for Manitoba.
It's going to help boost economic development in the north by creating jobs in the Port of Churchill. Absolutely great news for farmers here in Manitoba as well as people in the north.
Earlier this year, Ottawa said it's considering a major expansion of the Port of Churchill that would transform the northern Manitoba facility into a year-round multi-commodity trade hub. Arctic Gateway Group, which owns and operates the port, has also signed agreements with several international ports aimed at expanding exports of Canadian products.
Right now, there's a huge political push to move to build pipelines and other things to move energy products to markets outside of Canada. And so by showing that we can do it at the Port of Churchill, there's a potential for tremendous growth for Manitoba.
Avery says this year's grain shipments represent an important first step toward making Churchill a larger player in Canada's trade network.
Having trade-enabling infrastructure like the Port of Churchill is critical.
Hoping the port will play a bigger role in Canada's economic strategy. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Local First Nations leaders are in Ottawa this week for the Assembly of First Nations annual general meeting. And today, they demanded an overhaul of the healthcare system, saying it's failing First Nations people and perpetuating racism.
First Nations citizens are continuing to die 11 years earlier than the average Canadian. And I want that message to ring hollow to everyone who's listening right now. First Nations people are dying 11 years earlier.
Their primary demand was for a working relationship with the government to address capacity and wait time issues to ensure culturally safe and equitable care for First Nations people. Southern Chiefs Organization Grand Chief Jerry Daniels also said that there should be advocates, known as patient navigators, in every hospital to help First Nations people navigate the system and communicate their needs to healthcare workers. In a statement, Health Minister Uzoma Azagwara says they're committed to working in partnership with First Nations leaders and Indigenous organizations to improve care and address inequities. They add, in part, that is why the province became the first in Canada to routinely collect race, ethnicity, and Indigenous identity data across the hospital system. They identify inequities, measure progress, and drive improvements in patient care. The next time you grab a coffee or drink from a fast food joint, you'll be able to recycle the paper cup it comes in. Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba, the organization that helps coordinate the province's recycling efforts, announced today you can now start throwing those cups in blue bins. They've historically been tricky to recycle due to the waterproof lining and dyes. However, the organization says they will now be sorted with mixed paper through the existing system. Now, just be sure to pour out any remaining liquid first and remove the lid. Most coffee cup lids still cannot be recycled. However, you can recycle clear plastic drink lids, which look like this. Young people will have an easier way to keep busy this summer and maybe take up a new sport. People between the ages of 6 and 18 can now golf for just $5 at any city course after 5 p.m. And for 9 holes, the cost drops to just $3. It's part of Golf Canada's Youth On-Course program. So to take advantage of the deal, you'll have to become a Golf Canada member at a cost of $65. Still to come tonight, some harrowing scenes coming out of Ontario.
This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary.
Wildfires are running rampant across Canada. We'll have the latest and how people are dealing with the sweaty, smoggy conditions when we return. From Statistics Canada shows that new electric vehicle sales in Canada are skyrocketing. In May, over 18,000 EVs were sold. That's an increase of almost 20% as compared to the same month last year. Sales of electric vehicles made up nearly 10% of all vehicles sold. Turning to the markets now, and crude oil made a small gain. The loonie rose to 71.18 cents U.S. Gold futures lost nearly $18. The TSX added 95 points. The Dow Jones closed 150 points higher, and the Nasdaq also made positive gains. The Bank of Canada is watching international factors like the Middle East and tariffs as it keeps to a steady-as-she-goes approach. The trend-setting bank rate will remain at 2.25% for the 6th consecutive time. But as CTV's Judy Trin shows you, the bank's governor also revealed a sense of optimism.
Economic growth looks to have resumed in Canada.
The Bank of Canada is holding its key policy rate at 2.25% after the economy showed signs of a rebound.
While U.S. trade policy continues to be a headwind, consumers have been resilient and businesses are adapting.
Despite uncertainty surrounding the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement, the central bank's governor says businesses are finding new markets and exporting more.
Business sentiment in general, consumer confidence is slowly rising. Consumer spending is maintained.
The Canadian economy has remained flat since January 2025, but this quarter it's expected to grow, but only by 0.7%.
April GDP was largely, which grew quite strongly, was largely almost all accounted for by oil and gas. But there were some small growth registering amongst a wide range of sectors.
The biggest risk to growth globally is the shattering of the Iran-U.S. ceasefire. The war on the waterway puts a chokehold on 20% of the world's supply of oil and gas that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Inflation in Canada currently sits at 3%.
Inflation in Canada is poised to ease, provided global oil prices decline from elevated levels. And third, uncertainty remains high.
Tiff Macklem is also crediting Canadian consumers for propping up the economy. While the population is shrinking, consumer spending has remained steady. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The sky over Toronto looked apocalyptic today. Smoke from dozens of wildfires in Ontario's northwest are sitting over the city and drifting across the province. For much of the day, Toronto had the worst air quality in the world. As CTV's Adrian Gabriel shows you, the flames in the north, heightened by super hot and dry conditions, made for a harrowing scene on a train.
This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary.
A wall of deadly flames surrounds a CN train in northwestern Ontario. A crew member calls out for help.
Holy sh**. Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
Everyone on board was safely evacuated. Emergency orders have been issued to vacate multiple northwestern Ontario communities, including First Nations. Satellite images show a blanket of smoke created by dozens of fires covering large swaths of the province. The Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre says that as of this week, there are roughly 838 active fires across Canada, with the largest concentration found in Quebec, where 190 are burning, followed by Ontario with 184. Canada's largest city now on the receiving end, the skyline suffocated by a smoky canvas.
I've never, ever seen anything like this.
As of 11 a.m. this morning, Toronto had the most polluted air quality in the world, worse than Delhi, Dubai, and Doha, just to name a few.
This is kind of like the earth smoking a cigarette, and we're getting the secondhand smoke from it.
At a popular Toronto park where hundreds flock to each day during the summer, only a handful of people brave the elements. Others put on a mask while traversing the city, protecting themselves from the particles in the air.
Those particles are going to contain a whole sort of soup of different chemicals and compounds that can impact people's health.
Compounding the air quality alert, the big smoke is also battling a heat warning. Though further north, the dangers remain even more present and pressing.
In the midst of these unhealthy conditions, public health officials are advising everyone in the affected areas, regardless of their age or medical history, to limit their outdoor exposure. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Meantime, in North Edmonton, the problem is flooding. A big storm submerged roadways, forcing firefighters to rescue drivers stranded in a flooded underpass. The rain started around midnight, dumping between 20 and 60 millimeters of rain. Several neighborhoods were waterlogged. Turbulence could be ahead for thousands of airline passengers. WestJet flight attendants could walk off the job ahead of one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. They voted more than 99% in favor of strike action, meaning more than 4,400 workers could hit the picket lines as early as August 2nd, which falls on the long weekend. Now, if that happens, up to 75,000 passengers per day could be impacted.
I mean, I do understand it's frustrating for some travelers, but it's important for everybody to get fair pay.
If they're on that plane and they're working, they should be doing their job and getting paid whether they're on the ground or in the air.
The union says the main issues are wages, unpaid work, and working conditions. WestJet's CEO says he thinks the two sides can reach an agreement to avoid a strike. Airstrikes have increased in number and intensity as the U.S. and Iran revive bombings. All the while, the U.S. has reinstated its naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Christiane Cordero has the latest from Washington.
Today, the battle at sea between the U.S. and Iran is ramping up. U.S. Central Command posted this photo showing an American-flagged ship to illustrate the naval blockade reinstated in the Strait of Hormuz. The Pentagon says U.S. forces have redirected 2 commercial ships away from Iranian ports.
Anything we can put economic pressure on the regime is really what's going to get their attention and potentially change their perspective when it comes to these negotiations.
Iran insists it has control of the strait, and recent data from maritime firm Kepler shows a dramatic decrease in ship traffic since the war reignited. Just 21 recorded transits on Tuesday, when about 100 ships would pass before the war. A new wave of U.S. airstrikes today, including the one in this video circulating online, shows missiles targeting Iranian port cities in broad daylight. Iran has responded by targeting American bases in the region. This video posted online shows an airstrike hitting a building in Kuwait that Iran says stored U.S. weapons. A spokesperson for the regime says more than 30 people have died as a result of the recent strikes, though hasn't elaborated beyond that figure. And today, President Trump is increasing the rhetoric, threatening to bomb Iran's bridges and power plants as soon as next week. Oil and gas prices are rising with the volatility around the Strait of Hormuz. The national average for a gallon of regular is now $3.87, according to Gas Buddy. That's 13 cents higher than last week. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
More than 24 Meta employees are suing the company, claiming it used artificial intelligence to determine layoffs. The lawsuit claims Meta also used keystroke activity and monitoring data, as well as algorithmically assisted performance rankings to make the decision. It claims that resulted in people on medical, parental, or family leave being disproportionately targeted. Each of the 26 anonymous employees in the lawsuit were either on a protected leave or had requested or received an accommodation for a disability. In a statement, Meta says the allegations lack merit and are not based on facts, insisting that all workforce decisions are made by people. A mural in the West End honoring Folklorama is taking shape. The artwork celebrates our city's rich diversity and ethno-cultural pavilions represented at the event. It's being painted by artist Mandy Van Llewellyn, and it's halfway done.
And this Folklorama mural is really fitting, considering we are the first place that people come to when they arrive in Canada. Usually the West End is home to a whole bunch of newcomers throughout history, so it's really fitting that the Folklorama, a mural that really celebrates our cultural and our diversity, is right here in the home of the heartland in the West End.
You can check out the work in progress at 674 Sargent Avenue on the west wall of Morton's Chocolate.
Centering pass, Perfetti shoots and scores!
Let the hockey season anticipation begin. The Jets nailed down a forward, and we now know who the team will face in the home opener. That's next.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Canada's national men's rugby team will hit the pitch in Winnipeg on July 18th for the first time in 33 years this weekend.
We need to have all that in mind and make sure that we perform well for the supporters, and hopefully people want us as a result to come back.
This week, Coach Stephen Meehan says the squad is working to improve areas that contributed to their loss in Edmonton and using the tournament as a look ahead to next year's World Cup. They're also learning more about Winnipeg's rugby history from the lone Manitoban on the squad, Kyle Steeves.
We're all learning, more and more about the local rugby, which has been terrific, to get a better understanding of things. So we're looking forward to, obviously, to the game, as a result.
The squad and support staff have also enjoyed some local cuisine at the Red Top Drive-In. Team Canada will play Zimbabwe in the World Rugby Nations Cup on Saturday at Princess Auto Stadium. The Winnipeg Jets have locked up forward Cole Perfetti for another 5 seasons.
Centering pass, Perfetti shoots and scores! Overtime goal!
The two sides have agreed on a 5-year, $30 million deal, carrying an average annual value of $6 million. Perfetti scored 12 goals and added 20 assists in 68 games last season. The 24-year-old, who was taken 10th overall in the 2020 draft, has 59 goals and 157 points in 290 career games. Perfetti and the Jets were set to head to arbitration on Monday. And speaking of the Jets, we now know who they'll open the season against at home. The NHL released the league's home openers today, and the Jets will welcome the Boston Bruins to Canada Life Centre on August 2nd. The rest of the season will be announced tomorrow afternoon. The 2026 regular season will be expanding to 84 games after the league added 2 more divisional games per team to the schedule.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV's Taylor Brock has your complete Skywatch weather forecast. And Taylor, this morning we woke up to some rain. Is that the kind of thing we're all going to have to deal with now? It's going to be rain instead of heat?
Well, you woke up to rain. I slept in. We are going to be potentially getting some more of the rain. There's even a risk of a thunderstorm, actually, as the week goes on. That includes some parts of northern Manitoba, actually. We're going to take a look in a moment at how things are going up there. In the meantime, we've got something going on behind me. This is the trajectory of the storms, actually. We are going to be seeing, particularly on Friday in northern Manitoba, potential for a heavier thunderstorm. And that could also be happening here in Winnipeg, just right along the border, actually, just right in the U.S. There's the potential for it to push up into here in Winnipeg, as well as the West Hawk area. But we could also be getting a thunderstorm tonight and tomorrow. We'll chat more about that in a moment. Let's take a quick look, though, at our hot weather in northern Manitoba. I'll move to the side here to give you an idea. Lynn Lake, Flin Flon, the Pas, Grand Rapids, you're all under this advisory, as well as areas around Gillam. Thompson, Churchill, not included in this advisory, but for these areas currently in yellow, this advisory is expected to end tomorrow. Those hot temperatures are expected to taper off a little. Still warm, but not quite as hot as the highs of 29 degrees Celsius we've been seeing. We'll chat more about that in a moment. And we'll get a bit of a wider view of the storms that I mentioned earlier. As you can see, into the very early hours of this morning, into the southwest region, including in Brandon and Dauphin, there's that chance for a thunderstorm, even a severe thunderstorm. It's going to reach us here in Winnipeg about later in the morning, early afternoon, bringing with it showers and again that chance of a thunderstorm. This is going to continue really most of the day, and as we saw a second ago, northern Manitoba also contending with potential for some rain and a thunderstorm as well. Northwestern Ontario, you folks are also going to be getting some rain on Friday as well. It's not looking like at this point a thunderstorm risk in areas like Kenora. However, we'll keep an eye on that one. Tonight, 19 degrees is the expected low with that rain we mentioned a moment ago tonight and tomorrow. 25 degrees being our expected high throughout the day tomorrow. And we'll take a quick look at this long range forecast so you don't get too sad. Yes, lots of sunshine is on the way on Saturday. So if you are heading out to that rugby game, 29 degrees is the expected high with lots of sunshine. And as we quickly jump around the province, a high of 27 degrees tomorrow in Thompson, mostly sunny. Lynn Lake, 29 degrees is the hottest it'll get. Lots of sunshine for you folks as well. Tomorrow is the last day we're expecting to see those very high temperatures. Tonight in Brandon, there is that chance of a thunderstorm in the very early hours of the morning for you folks. First tomorrow with a high of 25 degrees here in Winnipeg. If we have it, likely very early in the morning as folks start their day, as well as temperatures reaching a high of 28 degrees with rain continuing Friday. A cloudy night tonight in northwestern Ontario, continuing tomorrow with a high of 28 degrees in Dryden. And taking a look at our Skywatch pick of the day, this one from Pelican Beach comes to us thanks to Cynthia. Gorgeous morning shot. And this second one over here is of a very surprise little critter here. Thanks to Carla for sending this shot over from Niverville. You can send your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
AI is making it harder and harder to know which videos are real and which ones are fake. As CTV's Pat Foran shows us, some get-rich-quick posts are designed to steal your money.
Imagine receiving $35,000 every month without hard work, without risk, without wasting time.
This is the latest deepfake video going around online with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Well, it appears he's pitching an investment platform in the House of Commons. Criminals have used AI to create this fake video to scam Canadians.
2 months ago, I deposited just $350 into my account. Today, my balance is $70,000.
It looked exactly like Mark Carney. It was Mark Carney.
Deborah Friesen of Acton says last year she was watching craft videos online when an ad popped up that appeared to be the Prime Minister speaking about an investment opportunity.
He said, I'm really trying to help out my Canadian people by helping them to make extra money on this trading platform.
Friesen was scammed out of $13,000. Later, she was contacted again by someone who called her every day for months. She took another chance and was scammed out of $70,000.
And then he disappeared. I fell apart. I couldn't stop crying.
It's so frustrating, so devastating.
Judy Skeen saw a fake Mark Carney video on Facebook. She invested and was scammed out of $900,000.
All my money was gone.
Do not ever invest on anything or in any situation that arises out of social media.
Cybersecurity experts recommend reaching out to people you trust before making any investment decisions or large purchases.
Make sure that in your family you have 1, 2, or 3 people that you have on speed dial and you can call them immediately.
Be very cautious with any video seeking your money, and know with AI, creating deepfakes is getting easier and they're becoming more realistic. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Still to come, the wife of a man who was almost sucked out of the window of an airplane recounts the terrifying ordeal as new details come to light about what caused the near tragic incident. We're learning more about the terrifying moment that a window broke on a Ryanair flight. The wife of the man who was nearly sucked out of the plane is now speaking out and describing what happened. Hannah Battah reports.
The wife of the man nearly sucked out of a Ryanair jet is describing the moment a window broke in midair. Svetlana Maximovic saying, I heard an incredibly loud bang. I turned toward him and saw that part of his body had already been pulled out through the window. The couple was flying from Greece to Germany Friday when a window of the Boeing 737 dislodged just minutes into the flight.
We can see one of the blades in the engine that you can see as you look at the front broke free, went out the side of the engine and hit the fuselage right at the window where this person was seated.
Maximovic says she and another passenger grabbed her husband's arm. We just didn't have the strength, she says. Then a man from across the aisle came over. Together, we managed to pull him back inside the plane. She says her 61-year-old husband collapsed 3 times before the plane made it back to Greece. He's being treated for neck and shoulder injuries and friction burns. Now she wants answers, saying someone has to be held accountable for this. Who cleared that aircraft to fly?
While holding onto her husband's legs, she said she thought if we die, we die together. Ryanair confirms the window dislodged, but would not comment further pending the investigation. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
An experimental drug might help slow early Alzheimer's disease in a markedly different way than current treatments by lowering the brain's production of a protein called tau. Today, 2 Alzheimer's drugs can modestly slow cognitive decline by clearing away buildup of a different protein, amyloid. But tau plays a role too, and there are no tau-targeting drugs. Researchers at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference reported new findings Tuesday, suggesting Biogen's experimental drug also might offer that benefit.
This is the first study, so we are learning all the time. The lowest dose showed the greatest effect, but all doses showed some effect on 5 out of 6 of those cognitive or functional scales that we used. So I think we have a really encouraging signal.
In one test of the lowest dose, there was a 26% reduction in cognitive decline, which was roughly the same change seen in previous tests of amyloid drugs. Health officials are keeping a close eye on the spread of an illness linked to contaminated food, which has made hundreds of people sick in the U.S. CTV's Alexandra Hollick has more on the advice from experts that they have to keep people healthy.
Whether it's a leafy green or summer berries, washing your produce seems like standard procedure. But even a thorough rinse can't compete with a microscopic parasite causing major problems. It's called Cyclospora, and it's spreading rapidly across the United States.
It can contaminate water or fresh fruits and vegetables when that human feces becomes in contact with those items, typically through contaminated irrigation water.
The bug is usually found in subtropical regions like South America, Asia, the Caribbean, and Africa. Common culprits include lettuce, cilantro, basil, green onions, raspberries, and snow peas, to name a few.
Particularly those that have non-smooth surfaces, so things with nooks and crannies.
You wouldn't be able to tell if it landed on your plate, and the good news is the infection isn't deadly. But symptoms similar to other foodborne illnesses can show up within a couple of days and last a couple of months.
Mostly people complain about fairly severe, sometimes explosive diarrhea, and that can make people very ill.
Here in Canada, it's not uncommon to see a handful of cyclosporiasis cases every year. While health officials are closely monitoring the situation north and south of the border, they're also urging travelers to stay safe.
If you're going into the U.S. right now, to avoid uncooked fruit and vegetables.
Choose instead fresh fruits that have smooth surfaces, things like grapes, or perhaps rinds that could be peeled.
With the outbreak happening in the U.S. and still no root cause, health officials here say this could be another reason to buy locally grown fruits and vegetables to prevent the chance of picking up that parasite from imported produce. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Kitchener.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Coster Denture Clinic.
Acrobatics so hair-raising you can't look away. Cirque is coming back to Winnipeg. We'll have the details next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Queen. It's a kind of magic.
Get your popcorn ready, Winnipeg. The Big Top is back. Cirque Italia's Water Circus is getting set for a run of shows next week. Prepare to witness death-defying stunts, feats of acrobatics, and wild antics by performers from Argentina, Brazil, Romania, and more. Shows are happening between July 23rd and 27th in the black and white tent at St. Vital Center. You can find more information and tickets by visiting cirqueitalia.com. Winnipeggers are looking a bit zanier than usual today. Here's why. It's opening night for a Winnipeg Fringe Festival. The event is being put on by Royal MTC. More than 160 indoor shows are planned for venues across the city, featuring both local and international theater companies.
There's lots of buzz in the Exchange District. That's something that I love so much about the Fringe, is getting people down into the area that I love so much, and seeing all the posters go up and everybody excited to see new shows, new art, and meet up with their community.
And Old Market Square will host free daily entertainment with street performers and bands showing off their talents. The festival runs now through July 26th. You can find information, schedules, and tickets at winnipegfringefest.com. Former U.S. President Joe Biden plans to publish his memoir this fall. It's called Promise Me America. Little, Brown and Company says the book is set for release November 17th. It'll cover topics from the economy to Biden's decision not to seek re-election. Biden describes the book as a reflection on national challenges and his faith in America. The release comes 2 weeks after Election Day, which may concern some Democrats as they seek to regain control of Congress. Biden's health and his decision to step down are expected to be key topics. And your primetime lineup today starts with MasterChef at 7. Following is The Rainmaker at 8. And The Rebuild Inside the Montreal Canadiens is on at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
People used to be very, very proud of keeping swans.
So proud, in fact, they'd count them all. It's a tradition that continues to this day. How long it's been going on and why it continues when we return.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Today was actually a bit cooler than usual, only getting up to 22 degrees Celsius as our high today. Taking a look over the next couple of days, though, don't worry, temperatures are expected to soar as high as 29 degrees on Saturday and 30 on Sunday.
Thanks, Taylor. The annual Swan Upping is underway on the River Thames.
People used to be very, very proud of keeping swans. Of course, today, Swan Upping is nothing to do with eating swans. It's all about education and conservation.
The 800-year-old tradition involves counting all the swans owned by King Charles. Now, back in the day, it was meant to hunt down swans for banquets and feasts where, well, let's just say that they would be the guests of honor. But now it's all about counting, weighing, and measuring them to keep tabs on their growth rates for education and conservation. I'm sure the swans are very happy that that tradition has changed since 800 years ago.
You know, we do have a lot of geese in this city, John.
They are protected and will not be part, but we could count them, though, for sure. And we will count on you to join us at 11:30. Hope to see you then.